Ruslan.
Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fighting 30 years apart. And something Mike Tyson said that I found extremely valuable that ties into one of my favorite passages and sayings of Jesus. All right, so here's the trailer. It's on Netflix. Apparently, they're going to be live streaming the fight on Netflix. The only thing I've known Netflix to live stream is Chris Rock's special. So I'm sure they have streamed other stuff, but this is really interesting. This is like super duper cinematic. He's getting out. I'm going to turn down the Mike Tyson's there, and they do the face off on top of this building with the helicopter. This looks fun. I'm not gonna lie, this trailer is pretty fire. I can't play the audio because I think, yeah, so Jake Paul live boxing event, Mike Tyson, July 20th on Netflix. I don't think you got to pay extra, which I think Netflix has been struggling a bit. So I have a clip from Mike Tyson that I wanted to tie into this conversation. Now, there's a huge constituency of people that want to see Jake Paul knocked out. There's a huge constituency of people that want to see Mike Tyson fight. If you didn't grow up in the 90s like I did, you have no context of the allure of Mike Tyson, okay? And I'm going to get to something he said in one of my favorite interviews of his in a moment, but you really have no idea how iconic he was and how quick those fights were. So there is a demographic that wants to see a fight. So I think it's going to be an interesting event that we're all going to hate to watch, but we're all going to watch it, especially those of us with Netflix. The question is this going to be a fair fight? Is Mike Tyson out of his prime? I mean, there's been videos of him having to be wheeled around in a wheelchair at the airport because it's, I think, sciatica or sciatic. He has sciatica, I think. This was covered by Jamari. Is this going to be an even fight? There's people pontificating saying this is going to be something that has a no knockout clause, right? Somebody said it's a AARP event. That's funny. Other people are saying that it doesn't matter how old Mike Tyson is, they wouldn't fight Mike Tyson's corpse. I saw that on X today. I thought that was pretty hilarious. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that's for you guys to decide how you guys feel about this. I would like to see Jake Paul fight some real boxers that are like professionals, his age, his weight division. I think that would be, to me, as an appreciator of combat sports and all that sort of stuff, I would find that more entertaining personally. I find that more entertaining personally. Okay. Now, in light of all of this, I thought of my favorite Mike Tyson interview, which is with my buddy Patrick Bet-David over on Valuetainment. Okay. And he said a couple things here that I actually covered when this came out, but I figured why not cover it now? Because I think it so strongly ties into some of my favorite sayings from Jesus. Patrick Bet-David interviewing Mike Tyson, and listen to the question Patrick Bet-David asks him, and then you guys tell me if you hear the biblical tie-in. Okay, and by the way, this is not an endorsement of everything Mike Tyson believes. Mike Tyson is not a Christian. Mike Tyson says some other wild stuff in his conversation, but this part, I think, just shows that how truth can come out of people's mouths who may not be fully submitted to the truth. Okay, so listen to what he says here.
Teach desire, or the desire has to come from somebody?
You can inspire desire, but can you teach it? I don't know. I never had to try to teach anybody that.
Nobody.
So the question is around desire. Can you teach desire, or does it have to come from somewhere? Okay, this is actually a really interesting question, because what you're really getting at is that aspect of us that wants to do something with our lives, something with our careers, something with our legacy, something with our families, something for the kingdom of God. That aspect, that aspirational ambition aspect, that desire, can that be taught? I'd love to hear from you guys. Do you guys think that could be taught? This is a great question. Now listen to how Mike Tyson answers this question.
I had to teach you the fire because you had it. It was within you.
Well, no, it wasn't definitely within me. You know, somebody had to bring it out and show that I deserved to have what I had to learn self-love. You know.
So he said, it didn't just come in me. Someone had to pull it out. And then he makes this interesting point about self-love, which I think when we think of self-love, we think about it like in a mental health, you need a mental health day kind of self-love. But this is not how Mike Tyson is meaning self-love. Okay? So he says, it was in me, but it still had to be brought out of me by people who made me desire, dream big, go bigger, right? And listen to what he says about this concept of self-love, which is not what you think it is, okay?
I deserve to have what I had to learn self-love.
I had to learn self-love. Listen.
No, I don't care how great you are, how much you succeed. Without self-love, you're nothing. Because self-love is discipline.
Now, did you guys catch it? Self-love is discipline. Self-love is discipline. Worldly love is I accept you and I affirm you just as you are, and I affirm every aspect about you. Mike Tyson's definition of self-love is not that you love self. It's that you respect yourself enough to discipline yourself, to beat your lower level desires and instincts into submission. Okay, is this reminding you of anybody? Okay, let's listen a little bit more.
And discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but doing like you love it. So, self-love is not affirm and accept everything about yourself. Self-love is discipline, and discipline is learning to do what you love even when you hate it. Learning to do the thing that is uncomfortable. Now, maybe this is just how my brain works, and it's okay if you guys disagree with this, but I instantly thought of a couple of Bible verses. I thought of the greatest command, love God with all your heart, and also this one's equal, love your neighbor as yourself. Okay, so there's the presupposition in that statement that you already know how to love yourself. So love your neighbor as yourself because you already know how to love yourself. But then I think about Jesus saying, in order to follow me, you must lay down your life, pick up your cross, and follow me. You must pick up a torture instrument, carry it, and follow me. The scriptures often talk about crucifying the flesh, putting to death the deeds of darkness, your carnal desires, right? And I think in Mike Tyson's way, even though he's not a follower of Jesus, I think he gets this on a practical level because anyone who's ever had to condition themselves to any type of competition level of sports or whatever understands that you have to submit and beat your lower level carnal desires for something greater. You have to learn to delay gratification for something greater. You have to learn to fight your natural self for something bigger than yourself, right? And the pathway to that is not to cast off restraint. The pathway to that is not to have no boundaries. The pathway to that is not to do what thou will. The pathway to that is dying to your desires that are contrary to the version that you can become for the goal. In our case, as followers of Jesus, that goal is going to be different. It's going to be the ultimate goal of seeing the kingdom of God come on earth. And so I thought about that, and I thought of a saying I've been saying to my son. I tell my son, if you do what is easy, life will be hard. If you do what is hard, life will be easy. What is easy is to be average. What is easy is to be like everybody else. What is easy is to take the road of less resistance. If you do what is hard, if you do the hard things over a long enough time horizon, eventually they will compound and your life will be easy. Oddly enough, Jesus says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So from one standpoint, Jesus is saying you must pick up your cross, you must lay down your life, pick up your cross and follow me. On the other side, he's saying my yoke is easy and my burden is light. It's paradoxical because the way to purpose, the way to flourishing, the way to walking in that abundant life that Jesus talks about in 10:10, the way towards that is not with casting off restraint. It's actually in discipline. It's actually in limiting your options. It's actually in living a life that's distinct. That's why the scriptures say we are a peculiar people. And so again, I'm not saying Mike Tyson is a prophet or a Christian or anything like that. I'm saying right here, the way he defines the concept of self-love equals discipline. Self-love equals delaying gratification. Self-love equals doing hard things over and over again. And it reminds me of the conversation we highlighted with Dr. Andrew Huberman and David Goggins, and them discussing how the latest research has found that there's a part of your brain that the more hard stuff you do, the more it develops, the longer your life becomes, the easier it becomes to do hard things. That concept of grit and overcoming adversity is literally a physiological concept that's happening in our brains. And all along, Jesus is saying, do what is hard. Lay down your life, pick up your cross, follow me, be willing to lay it all down. He who loses his life will find it. And that the life we find, that when we lose our life, that word in the Greek, and you could go look this up, Blue Letter Bible is a great resource. You can look it up. That word life means psyche. Your mentality, your psyche, your way of doing things. You lay that down. You lay that down. You lay down your ways of doing things, of perpetually pleasure chasing. You lay that down. And the life you get in John 10:10, the abundant life that Jesus talks about in John 10:10, is a different word for life in the Greek. It's actually the word zoe. It's a fuller, richer life. It's a deeper, it's a more fulfilling life. Right? So I find this conversation so extremely fascinating and so intriguing that I just had to share it with you guys. I thought I was like, man, this Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fights trending. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. But I do think that he dropped a gem there on us. And I do think that it's parallel to what we see Jesus talk about. And I do think that the pathway to flourishing is not in casting off restraint and living a sloppy, lazy life. It's actually in doing the hard things. And I do think that the best way to learn how to do hard things is to follow Jesus. And if you're following Jesus and you're laying down your life and you're doing the things that no one wants to do, your feelings will follow. See, I'll say this last thing, and this is my closing thought. I was having a conversation with my nephew, and we were talking about how men and women are different. I'm going to use generalities, so trigger warning. As men, we tend to grow relationships in doing and then feeling. Women are a little different. Mark Driscoll used to describe it like this. Men build relationships shoulder to shoulder. Women build relationships face to face. Now, as men, we struggle and we need to learn to also have relationships face to face, because someday, like myself, men, we will have daughters and we'll want to have face-to-face conversations with them, right? Now, we grow relationships shoulder to shoulder, meaning that think about the relationships you have as a dude, relationships doing something, usually something hard if you think about it. Playing sports, working out, going hunting, going fishing, right? Even you think about like poker. Like poker's hard. Right? Playing games, right? I'm not encouraging gambling, but I'm saying, like, I'm just thinking about the things that my buddies have done. I don't know how to play poker, but things they've done. They've always been hard things that we do shoulder to shoulder. Women, on the other hand, and I'm not saying this is good or bad, I'm saying this is how it is. Women, on the other hand, tend to build relationships face to face. They will get together to just have coffee. When was the last time you just had coffee with one of your buds? Right? It feels unnatural because we just build relationships different. In the same way, we do things shoulder to shoulder. I think we also build the disciplines and the desires through doing and then feeling. You do, then you feel. You do something out of duty, out of consistency, out of commitment, and then you feel good about it. Right? And I think that's what Mike Tyson was getting at here. You do and then feel. The world wants, which is growing, in my opinion, substantially more feminine and egalitarian, wants you to feel and then do. Well, the thing is, if the issue is if you just wait around to feel, to do the right thing, a lot of times you won't feel like doing the right thing. You'll just play video games and hang out and do nothing, right? And so I think the more we can take inventory and say, you know what, oftentimes the road to where we want to get to is the narrow road. And it is not led by our emotions or our whims or our low-level desires. It's actually led by commitment, duty, and doing the hard thing that most people don't want to do. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. If you want to see the conversation with David Goggins and Dr. Andrew Huberman about the neuroscience on this, I'll have that over here. And if you don't have our prayer journal yet, you should absolutely go pick it up. All right. This is one of the best ways to build the disciplines, the consistencies of your daily devotional with God, reading, praying, writing down your prayers. One of the best ways you can do that. blessgodprayer.shop. Blessgodprayer.shop. If you can't afford it, go to blessgodpdf.shop to get the PDF version. All right? I'm out of here. Love you guys. Peace.